Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our complete beginner's guide to Monster Train 2, shall we, on our tutorial run. And we are currently, if we go over here, on the third ring, about to fight the first major boss, Archon, the Scion of Savagery. So before we do this, remember you can mouse over in the ribbon that runs along the top of the screen, the icon for that boss, and see what powers, abilities that the boss has. So it tells you in the flavor, Archon draws power from the defeat of his forces, becoming enraged at their failure. So he has this ability where he gains Rage 2 on Siphon. Now, everything is explained in the colored boxes below. So Siphon means if the boss is on a floor when one of his allies, in our case the enemy units, dies, and then he gets Rage 2 for each time he sees this happening. And every stack of Rage gives him +2 attack power. Now every round he will lose Rage, but if there's 4 enemies that he sees die, for example, well, then he's going to get a ton of, he's going to get Rage 8, which is going to give him 16 bonus attack power, which is very, very sizable when he's hitting into your frontline units. So it can be worth intentionally letting enemies live so that he doesn't get the Rage bonus, if you can make that happen. Now, we can go right or we can go left. On the left is the Pyre Remains, which is a node that allows you to heal your Pyre. If you do not need to heal your Pyre, I generally avoid this side of the ring because it's a wasted node. However, you don't do this all the time because sometimes there is a shop or something that you're really, really looking for, and you have to just take a wasted node because you want, for example, the Merchant of Arms. The Merchant of Arms would be good, but on the left we can get a unit and we can get we can go to the Merchant of Magic to augment our spells. And I think that's what we're going to do. Either way, we get the Celestial Alcove. There will be nodes occasionally that will be kind of right at the fork between the paths along the ring, and you get that regardless of which direction you go. So if you don't need to heal, and sometimes honestly even if you do need to heal, healing is okay, but I don't view it at a premium. I would only select a side that has Pyre Remains if I really, really want everything else, or if my Pyre health had gone dramatically low and this was going to be the difference between living and dying. But we're going to go to the right, and we're going to have our choice. Now remember, don't go to the unit first because you have to make a choice, but you could go to the Merchant of Magic and see what's available, and then you can go to the Alcove. Now I like to actually sometimes go to the Alcove after I go to the shop, because there's occasionally an event that will let you duplicate a card, and if you're going to duplicate a card you want it to be powered up. So sometimes you're like, well, I wish I would have powered it up first. So let's just go to the Merchant of Magic and see what's available. So we get the 2 weaker upgrades at the top, the 2 stronger or more expensive upgrades at the bottom. Now, let's look at our deck and see. Remember, we took Divinity, this expensive spell, and we might want to modify that to make it more easy for us to play. We also took Flicker, which we certainly want to make stronger. So we could put this +20 magic power, for example, onto Flicker, and then it consumes, which means we would only get to use it once per battle, but it would do 21 damage to everything. So this would be like a very useful AoE card. Now, I'm going to go back because I don't have enough money to unfortunately put Permafrost on it, which I would like to do. Permafrost allows you to hold a card in your hand. You don't discard it. And what's really nice to do with Permafrost is to take a card that's situational, like Flicker, and save it for when you need AoE, because sometimes you'll draw it, and you just don't really need to use it. And then you're in a situation where, oh my god, I have to kill the backline units, and I can't. that can be very frustrating because you don't have your card. So permafrost allows you to kind of, cheat by holding onto a card until you need it. Double stack is not very effective for us right now because what it does is, I'll show you, if I put it on this, it would give me 20 Valor, which is actually quite good, but it's quite expensive for 10 extra, and it's a question of, do I want to do that? I might actually do that, now that I think about it. Double stack only doubles the status effects. It doesn't double damage or anything else like that. I could upgrade something to give it plus 20 magic power and consume, so like Cleave, I could make it just do plus 20 damage to whatever the front unit's attack power is, to everybody, which is good. But, let's see here. I actually have exactly enough to buy double stack and upgrade the power, and I might do that. I'd love to have enough to be able to buy this and put it on my divinity to make it cheaper, but I think making it Valor 20 is very, very substantial. If we can get this out and put it on Fel, it will help her armor so much. So I'm going to do this. And then we have 20, and I am going to put this on Flicker to make it actually impactful, because right now Flicker doesn't do enough damage, but this makes it much, much stronger. Now, I really don't have any money left, so I've upgraded a couple of spells to boost our deck. I'm going to leave. And let's check out this. Okay. So we could get a Sword Maiden or an Avenger, and I believe... yeah, we already have a Sword Maiden, so we probably don't need a second Sword Maiden. I'm going to take an Avenger here, because an Avenger is a very strong unit. You can see it's 2 Ember. It is 2 capacity, but it's 20 attack power at 40 health, which is wild, and it has a Revenge ability. So if it gets hit, it applies melee weakness 1, which means the next hit in melee it takes double damage, which is great. Not from spells, but from hits in battle. The only problem with a card like this is that revenge abilities, generally, if you want them to go off, you want to put that unit at the front, and we already have Fel up there, so there's kind of a little bit of like a competition for the front spot. But sometimes, if enemies have sweep, or if enemies are able to attack beyond Fel, they can hit this and trigger it, and sometimes you need to bounce some of your units around to protect them, based on their health total, so it's not a complete deal breaker. I like this card. Now let's go to the Alcove, and this is a random event. You will get a different event than me, most likely, and let's see what we've got. So the rail shakes, the train screeches to a halt, the world trembles. The train is stopped in front of a fountain where angels once asked its waters for blessings. Now it radiates with Dominion's looming presence. Obey me. Okay, so we can ask for power, which means we can give one of our units this power, not our champion, but one of our units, plus 10 attack power and or damage, and then on strike we apply corruption 20, which is a lot. However, it will add this purge card, or this, sorry, blight card that can't be purged to our deck, Dominion's Eye. This card is a negative. It costs 1 Ember, and if I don't play it, then everything else in my hand costs an extra Ember. I can ask for authority, which means when I summon the unit, I spawn a random friendly enemy unit. Or I can ask for control, which adds melee weakness 1 and spell weakness 1 on strike. The question is this worth it? Corruption 20 is quite powerful, as is plus 10 attack power. If I put this card in my deck, basically every time I draw it, I'm going to need to just waste an Ember getting rid of it. It will slow my deck down. And this is the choice that a lot of these events provide you with, which is like you get something, but you also give something. It's a pro and con calculated risk situation. And I think that this is probably worth it. It's going to be annoying, but for the tutorial purposes, win or lose, we're fine. And this gives me the opportunity to kind of illustrate what happens if you take one of these. So I'll ask for power. You see we get to select one of our units. And I can pick, for example, the Avenger that I just took. And I can give him plus 10 attack power and corruption. Make him very strong indeed. It does use one of your upgrade slots, as you can see here. And I'll do this. Now, if I can give this guy multi-strike, like Fel has, then we're really starting to multiply our power. And we have a slot available for that, or maybe a piece of equipment that can do that for us. So I'm going to do this. If you don't want to have a negative put into your deck, if you don't feel that the positives outweigh the negatives, then you could just skip it. You could just leave without doing anything. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And now we're going to fight Archon. So again, you can mouse over the boss, and you could see that he starts with 7 attack power and has 425 health, which is the most health we've seen. And if you want to see the powers, you have to mouse over this Furious Frenzy in the center. Now I'm going to click Start Battle. I'm going to show you something. You'll see that the boss power is here, and it actually goes up to the top. So if you ever want a reminder on what the boss can do during a boss fight, you can go up here, and you can mouse over the Archon text to get the flavor, and then this emblem will tell you about his Furious Frenzy, and we're in deployment. So I'm going to put Fel here, and I'm actually going to put the Avenger with us for now. I probably want Fel in the front, but let's just do that. And then I'm going to drop in a Shield Steward, and I'll drop in the Sword Maiden. Archon is the strongest boss you've faced yet. He moves between floors freely, but can be attacked if you clear out all enemies on that floor. So here's the deal. The major bosses, the ones you fight on rings 3, 6, 8, can kind of fly outside the train or move outside the train and attack you on any floor. Now, this is okay because of this reason. You'll notice that if I put enemies on a different floor, he might go attack these guys instead of being on this floor and attacking us here, which would be annoying. This card blocked us from playing Divinity, which is so sad. But that's okay. We'll get to it next time. Now, you need to be wary, though. Sometimes if you put a weak unit down, like one of your Spear Stewards, this guy can one-shot them, but we're not concerned. So on this floor, because there's no enemy units, there's only the boss, we will actually hit the boss for 26 damage. Both of our guys are going to hit. I need to play this Blight card. You see how it's got the kind of like scary orange vines and veins running along it. If I play this, now all of the costs for my cards has reduced because we are in a spot where the negative effect of Dominion's Eye no longer affects us. So the costs of all these cards were modified, and you could see the numbers were in orange to signify like it was a negative. Now we're back. We have 2 Ember. We can't play Divinity, but we could certainly play our Snotty Whelp. We're going to kill all of these, and this is because one of the advantages of putting this guy in the front, I love Fel. I love her ability to give us Valor every time she's hit. But if this guy hits first, he will kill this dude, and then Fel can clean these up with multi-strike. Well, how can this guy do 45 damage? Well, let's talk about that. The way that this is going to happen... Okay, that was interesting. That was not what I meant to have happen. And I can't undo it because we're on the tutorial. I was trying to be fancy, I apologize, and get my pen software to work so I could draw on the screen and show you a chain of command for why we were going to do 45 damage. And I pushed my hotkey to open that up, and it somehow used my cleave card. So we cast cleave, and the effect is fine. We killed the units. It's going to be similar, but I don't get to play the Snotty Whelp, and I don't get to play Just Cause, which is a little bit frustrating, but I'll explain it, how it was going to happen without my pen software, so I don't do that again. The way that it was going to work is that they attack first, so he would hit my Avenger, and Revenge would trigger, which would apply melee weakness 1, which means they take double damage from an attack. So my attack for 30 would actually do 60 and kill this guy, and then Fell would have killed the back 2 units. Now, by playing Cleave accidentally, I'm out of Ember, so we're just going to end the turn. And there we go. You see the melee weakness. Okay, so now it's explaining to watch out for triggers. These purple icons show us triggers, and you always, if you see an enemy with a purple circle above their attack power and health, look at that and make sure you understand what's going on before you do anything. So this trigger is just that this guy is a flagellant, so he's going to actually whip himself for 20 damage, but boost his attack power, but that doesn't really bother us right here. Now, what does bother us is the fact that this guy is going to survive. It's not a huge deal, but can we do anything about that? And the answer is probably. Our Avenger's going to take a lot of damage as well. So, if I move Fell in front, the result will be the same, except Fell will take this damage, this 15 damage, instead of this guy. But that's not really that great. If I want to prevent some damage, what I can do is just Firestarter this guy, and Firestarter again, and then that guy dies. However, the consequence of that is that we triggered his Rage ability. So we made the boss stronger, because we killed an extra enemy. So sometimes you actually don't want to kill an enemy to avoid the Rage trigger. Now what I'm going to do instead of... yeah, I'm going to just put Valor right here to start protecting our Avenger a bit instead of playing that unit. It's not a premium unit, it's okay. So Rage again. So now this guy is doing a ton of damage, which is a little scary, but that's alright. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this guy down here to get rid of him. I don't know if I really want to use this right now. It's kind of not necessary. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to boost up this unit, and I'm going to just put a little bit of Pyre Gel on the boss. Just start getting this stack of Pyre Gel going so he takes more damage. He's probably going to kill that Shield Steward eventually, which is fine. Now that would have been this is a turn where Flicker would have been super useful, but we just don't have it. So I'm going to now play this to give Fell all that Valor, and I'm putting it on Fell because Fell has multi-strike. So 20 Valor means that Fell is now doing 40 extra damage. We're not going to quite kill this guy, but he's pretty close. So you saw the boss's rage went down because every turn or every round that's going to decrease. Alright. Now, unfortunately, this guy will die in this position. So I'm going to play Just Cause on Fell. And Fell won't die, but now both of these will die, triggering the rage, which is unfortunate. This guy will take 8, so if I put this guy, the Spear Steward, here, we could kill this guy so he doesn't hit our Pyre. This is an unfortunate predicament, because in this situation he will die, so I'm actually going to swing the Sword Maiden up front, and now we kill them both. Remember, the Sword Maiden is upgraded with Valor, so she actually benefits from being in the front row. She won't get the armor now, but she'll get it next turn. Okay. So this is what's nice about these Valor cards that we have as the Banished, which is that we can reposition our units. Now, right away you see the boss is going to die, and we're going to win. Now, our Fel will die, but that's okay. Now, what I can do is play Dominion's Eye, get rid of that, and then I can actually do some really cool stuff right here. I have a free space in the back. I'm going to play our Snotty Whelp in the back. And then I can use his ability to put some Pyre Gel right there. And then I can actually Fire Starter this guy. And now our Avenger won't even take damage. It doesn't matter. We were going to win anyway. But this, you could see he has 4 stacks of Rage, which made him stronger. But because of the 20 extra Valor that we were able to give Fel, she just has so much armor that she can stand in and take this, and every time she's hit, she's getting more Valor, which is boosting the armor of everyone else. And then melee weakness and the Pyre Gel of 16 will make this quick work. Let's just watch this play out. Alright, great. We got it. So that's the first major boss defeated. And we get 150 gold. Fantastic. And we get a choice of some spells or a room. In this spot, we're going to take this room. Superheated is a good card, especially if you're playing Pyreborn as your primary and you're just doing a ton of Pyre Gel. You could kind of like... Remember, what you're trying to do in this game is cheat by scaling well beyond what the enemies are scaling at. And exponential growth is generally the way of it. So what I mean by that is Superheated doubles the amount of Pyre Gel. So that's exponential, that's doubling. If I, let's just say, reduce the cost of this card, and then I duplicated this card, and then I had the opportunity for 1 or 2 Ember to double the amount of Pyre Gel on a unit twice, right? So I would square it, and then I would square it again. Now we're saying, like, you know, if they had just, 8 Pyre Gel, and I double it to 16, and then I double it again, they are going to be taking so much damage. Sometimes you can get 3 Superheateds, and you could just double on a boss, and then it's over. It's very expensive, though. You have to kind of work around that, but it can happen. It's a way to really pile on, and a lot of the Pyreborn units just put Pyre Gel out normally, so you can like have your units applying it, and then it just really can snowball. Spike of the Banished allows you to variably put Valor on, so like if you have 3 Ember, you could spend it all to put 9 Valor. It's okay. You can tweak this card, but at the same time, it's not my favorite card. It does have some variability, but it's not what we need right now. But a room is fantastic. A room is like an enchantment you put on one floor of the train, and you get the ability that's here. So for 1 Ember, like the bottom floor, every time one of our units kills an enemy unit, slays an enemy unit, we would get 6 Valor. That is so strong, especially on Fel, when Fel has multi-strike. So the Blood-Soaked Arena is very, very good. Now, of these, what do I want? Well, there's some... This is a strong unit, the Firebrand, because, 30 health, 15 damage, very good. The Battle Dancer, if you move it around, not bad. But I actually might take the Miser right here, because the Miser has Avarice 10. And Avarice says whenever you deal damage, you gain gold equal to the stacks of Avarice. So this guy, as long as he hits, we get 10 gold. If I put him on the bottom floor and keep him alive, that can really, really add up. Gold is one of the best ways. Remember, we're trying to break the game. We're trying to scale up. If we have a lot of gold, we could just upgrade all of our cards. We could buy whatever relics we want. So gold is a fantastic way to cheat the game and scale up by augmenting our cards in our deck. So let's just try this guy to see if he can get us some extra money. And now we have the choice, because we defeated a major boss, of our first major enhancement. We could take Hell's Flame, which will give us 1 extra Ember per turn and an extra Ember during the deployment phase. They all are going to add 30 damage and 20 health to our Pyre. Limbo's Solace lets us draw an extra card each turn, and Heaven's Light adds 2 capacity to every floor, so we can put more units down. Now for me, it's usually a choice early between Hell's Flame or Heaven's Light, and I'm going to go with Heaven's Light, so we can really put a bunch of units onto a floor. Remember, if I have more units on the floor will be stronger. Fel's benefit of giving Valor will be spread out to more units. The rune bonus will target more of our allies, and so on. So I'm going to do this so that we can have a stronger floor. Alright, so now if we look at the kind of map here, we're on Ring 4, and we have a regular battle ahead of us. I could go right, or I could go left. Let me tell you what, right is tempting. There's a big sack of money, there's a random event at the Celestial Alcove, and then there's a Merchant of Trinkets where we can buy artifacts, which just give us permanent passive bonuses. Now, I like this side. Either way we go, we get the Light Forge to upgrade our champion, by the way. But the left side has the Imperium Well. Remember how I was saying I don't like to take the Pyre Remains if I don't need it, unless there's something I really, really want, which is the Imperium Well. We want to duplicate our best card. This is another way we can scale up to make our deck stronger. Let's look at our deck at the moment. What card would that be? Well, remember, this Avenger is sick. If we duplicate this guy, we don't get an extra one of those negative cards that goes in our deck, the Blight card. So we would get that bonus. Flicker is good. Our Sword Maiden is reasonable. Divinity, if we can get that, great, is good. But if we see here on the left, there's also a Merchant of Steel, and we have 160 gold. So what we're going to try to do is get a really, really strong unit and duplicate that. So we're going to go to the left. And let's first upgrade our champion. What are our choices? So our choices are to upgrade Fel as Vanguardian 2 or Savior. And you'll notice that you just pick right or left. And, for example, the left side actually has her doing more damage, 6 times 2 versus 3 times 2. The health will go up the same, and it gives her an ability, Savior, which has a cooldown of 3. You advance her to the front, and she gets Valor 5, which is pretty good. Keeps her alive. Gives her a move. But what I like is this one right here, which means instead of applying Valor 1 to friendly units, she applies Valor 2 every time she's hit. And this is what I'm going to take. We increase the capacity of our floor, so we're going to try to put more units there for those 2 stacks of Valor to go to. I'm going to go to the Merchant of Steel and see what we can get. Okay, great. So there's a few things here. There's the Immortal Stone, there's the Dual Stone. Now, dualism means it doubles the buffs. So you can click on this, and then you could say, okay, well, what would this do to the Avenger? And if I did this, if I put this dualism on the Avenger, he would put melee weakness 2, and corruption 40 instead of 20. So that's really, really good. That's doubling. That means that he'll have 2 stacks, which means the enemy that this guy hits will take double damage twice from attacks, and then we'll have that huge amount of corruption. That's really good. That's something that's certainly worth considering. I could put it on the Miser if I wanted a bunch of money. That's not the worst, but you can always click X to go back. Endless is the other choice here, which means that Whenever this unit dies, you just make it the top card that you draw. So if I put this, if I were to go with this and put this on the Avenger, that means that, like, I would constantly get to draw this guy. Like, even if they killed him, I just get another one to put down. And this is super, super useful as well. So what do I want? I could also go with a lesser upgrade. I think that dualism is going to be the secret for us because this is just so much damage. And we're going to duplicate this card. So we're going to get 2 Avengers. We're going to have 2 guys putting Corruption 40 on units with melee weakness 2 that have 30 damage and 40 health. And I'm going to do this. That card is now fully upgraded. Now, I can also go over here and I could put some health, for example, on our Miser, and make the Miser a little bit more substantial. And I'm actually going to put some more damage onto the Miser, too. I want this Miser to be on our bottom floor to get us money, but I don't want them to be a pushover. This is a 1 Ember, 2228, Avarice 10. Very good. So we can make some cash. All right, so we're out of money. Let's leave, and now let's go to the Imperium Well, and we get to duplicate any card. We could duplicate, Divinity. We could duplicate Flicker. We could duplicate the Miser. But we're going to duplicate this Avenger. Just like so. And now, we can take the Pyre Remains. We don't need it, but might as well click on it. And let's go to the battle. So what are we fighting here? Well, we get a choice. Undergo trials for greater risk and reward. So this is one of the reasons why I think that the tutorial, and I'm going to say this again and again to you, I think the tutorial is the least fun moment of Monster Train 2. So if you die early in this, you've actually done yourself a favor, because the game gets so much more fun when you have more options and they stop gating what you can do. These trials are best done, in my opinion, earlier in the run than Ring 4. Like, normally you would get to start doing these on the first ring, but they want to kind of not overwhelm new players, so they tease these things out, and now we don't get to do this until much later when the enemies are harder, and I'm not sure I want to do this. So if I want to risk it, I can get an extra 150 gold if I let every enemy unit have Titan Skin 4, and I gotta tell you what, I don't want them to have Titan Skin 4. This would reduce the amount of damage they take per stack. So every enemy would just have 4 damage reduction. That would mean that Fel would not be able to hurt them until she powered up. That would mean that all of my fire starter cards would deal 0 damage. They would just put on the Pyre Gel. So, it's not my favorite. That would mean that Snotty Whelp would do 0, right? I don't want to do that. And when you get to play your own runs, you're going to be able to take these opportunities to risk earlier. Some of these are easier than others. Like, if this was draw 1 less card, or even if this was get 1 less Ember per turn, I might take that. But some of these are terrible. Some of them are like reanimate. Some of them put enemies on every floor, Titan Skin, and you're just like, you know what? I don't think that's worth it. You can, especially in the tutorial, completely ruin your run by choosing one of these trials that you're not ready for. Let's look at these guys. Look at this guy, the Profane Supplicant. He's going to be in the back. He's got 4 health and does 4 damage, but if he doesn't die, he puts this Discordant Toll card at the top of our deck, which means we draw less cards, it's a Scourge card, and if we don't spend an Ember on this, our Pyre is going to take 3 damage. So you put Titan Skin on this guy, and he's hiding in the back behind, this 140 health guy. He's going to be hard to get to. I don't think so. I'm not going to do it. This guy benefits from enemies dying, and he has multi-strike. And then Corin the Judge is the boss. Look at that. Remember? Scaling? This guy has 850 hit points. Everything is getting harder and harder, so we have to keep cheating. And I say cheating and not in a bad way. That's just how you play the game. We have to keep scaling. Let's use that word. It's kinder. As much as possible to make up for the fact that the game is escalating. So I don't want to make this fight any harder than it is for 150 gold. And what you can do is, these are great if you can do them, but if you can't, don't risk it. And remember, we put in our good buddy, the Miser, to make money. So we can just make some money with the Miser and not have to make our life miserable. So I'm going to start. Now, when we actually get through the tutorial and start doing regular runs, we're going to be taking these trials all the time early in the run to make money, because making money is so powerful. And if you feel like you can do it, then go for it. I'm going to play Fel right here for free. I'm going to play the Avenger up here. Now, I kind of want to play another Avenger on this floor, but I don't have enough if I want to play the Miser. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Miser on the bottom floor, just so I could start getting money right away. And then I'm just going to drop a Shield Steward up here. I'm going to save an Avenger and try to sneak it into this bottom floor later. All right. So, we didn't draw what we wanted, but this is going to be fine. I'm going to move Fel up, and if I do that, you'll notice we no longer kill this guy because we don't get the melee weakness. So that's not really ideal. So what I'm going to do instead is then switch their place again and just kill this guy. Now, this guy's not going to die. And he's not going to die no matter what we do, unfortunately, because of how many hit points this guy has, and we didn't draw any AoE. I'm going to put... I could drop this guy down here if I wanted to, but then I would be at a weird spot in floor capacity. So what I'm going to do instead is just put this guy up here and end the turn. So now he got to resolve, which means we unfortunately draw the Discordant Toll. Now, let me explain something. First of all, remember the purple circle. This guy has Incant. This is one of the sneakiest things that will ruin you. This means that every time I cast a spell, he's going to apply Sap 2 to our units, which means we will get -4 to our attack. That is horrible. So getting rid of this Scourge is casting a spell. So if you want to do this, which we do want to do, don't do it on the floor that this guy is on. Just go up here to the second floor and get rid of it. This guy is going to die. This guy will be killed, but this guy will somehow take no damage. And that's because this dude has a whopping 50 armor, which is so gnarly. Now, I'm going to make some changes. And what I'm going to do is drop this dude right here. And even with that, even with this Avenger here, we still don't do any more damage to this bat guy. That's how bad this situation is. So this guy's... Let me think about how this is going to play out. This guy's going to not hit us. Oh, it's because he has 0 attack. So the problem is that this guy's stupid 0 attack doesn't trigger our... it doesn't trigger revenge. That's why we're in that spot. But it's okay. So, this guy triggered the revenge and got the melee weakness. Oh, cool. All right. So, what's happened? Well, we have a Discordant Toll that we want to play. But look at this. There is a collector. These start appearing, and as long they're in... They basically fly onto the train, and you have 1 turn to kill them. And if you do, you get whatever extinguish effect that they're, like the treasure that they're holding. So this would be 75 gold if we kill this guy. Well, guess what? We can kill this guy easily with Flicker. Now, I can also put down the Blood-Soaked Arena on the first floor, which I'm excited about doing. And you can see that this guy is not going to take that much damage. So I'm going to go ahead and use Jelly Sneeze. And then I'm going to play Flicker right here. Boom. And then we consume Flicker. That's what they're telling us. Consume means that if we play it, it goes into the consume pile. And we don't get to use it again until the next battle. I'm going to then also... this guy won't die. He's going to take a lot of damage, but he's not going to die. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to put this right here. And unfortunately, we can't play anything else from the end of turn. All right. So, ugly spot. We're going to play Dominion's Eye to get rid of this. This guy has 40 health. So let's see what happens if I put the Sword Maiden here. He will lose that much. And then, unfortunately, I'm going to have to lose some damage on my Pyre if I want to kill this guy. If I play this guy will live, and he'll do 6 damage to the Pyre. So instead, what we're going to do is just put this right here. So this fight is a little bit tricky for us because that front unit that doesn't attack kind of ruins our plans. And this is why we certainly didn't want to put Titan Skin on. I'm going to play this here. Get rid of it. This guy is going to die, and we have an opportunity to just kind of do what we want. I'm going to put this dude up here. And I can't kill this guy. He's just going to do 4 damage to our Shield Steward. That's fine. I could ping Fell. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. That gives everybody a big boost, so let's go for it. All right, final wave. So are we going to win? Yes. Without doing anything, we win this fight. Without changing how anything plays out. Now, I am going to get rid of this because that will trigger if we don't. And do I want to, like, move Fell up to the front? What happens if I do? If I move Fell up to the front, then only she dies, and they all still die. So that's pretty nice, and I'm going to do it again, just like so. And let's go ahead and end the turn. I haven't been mentioning it, but do you notice how much money we have? And especially on this, look how much money we're gaining right here. On an endless round, you just keep fighting. So if you have Avarice on a floor with a boss and it lasts a little bit, the amount of money that you get is substantial. So this is the first time that our Pyre has taken some damage, and we lost 6% of our score for that, but that really doesn't matter. And we ended up killing the boss on the bottom floor, and we started this, I swear we started with like 10 or 20 gold, and we got 155 gold. We must have started it with like 15 or something like that. But we triggered Avarice so many times that we made a bunch of money, and we're going to get 75 more. Now, we can choose a card. So, of these spells, Heroic Dive is kind of fun, because what you can do is use a unit that's on, like, let's say my bottom floor was maxed out, and then I was on the second floor with a unit. I could actually descend them down and go over the capacity on a floor by descending the unit there, and cheat the game a little bit by having extra units. So this would let us do that, which is quite powerful. Liquid Courage would help us protect somebody if we wanted to, which is good too. But I think I'm going to go with Heroic Dive and just mess around with that. There's a lot of good choices here. So this would help us make even more money, the Sacrificial Chamber. Make It Rain deals 5 damage to enemy units, but then you automatically spend 5 gold and repeat this card's effect up to 3 more times. So as long as you have money, you are doing a bunch of damage to all enemy units for 1, which is really good. It just costs us money. But because we have money, I kind of like this card. Now, Dragon's Breath is super strong because it does 10 damage to everybody and puts 10 Pyrogel, but it's 3. I'm going to take Make It Rain and just lean into the fact that we have Avarice and we have some money, and we could throw that money at the problem. Now, look at this. It's another Imperium Well. Now, where you get these Imperium Wells and how many you get is random. It's usually there's 3 per run, but sometimes I swear I've had 2 per run. We are actually going to get 4. So maybe it's like 2 to 4 per run. But we're going to keep using this to try to duplicate our very, very strong cards, our units, and just make our deck even more powerful. Now, the left is tempting. Like, I'd love to go over here, but I want that well. So we will move over to the right, and this is where we'll pick up next time. Everyone, I hope you're still finding this series to be useful and fun. We're on Ring 5. Our deck is getting stronger, and we're going to keep trying to leverage the power that we have, and this is a game that rewards you for finding a strategy and sticking to it and just doubling and tripling down on it. And right now, our strategy is basically use these Avengers as much as possible and have Fel get Valor if she can, give her Divinity, and make money, and use that to generate the AoE that we need. Now, I'd love to get some equipment. We just really haven't seen that much yet. But that's okay. We're still doing great. And I will check you all next time. Take care.